I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Call the meeting to order without the gavel. Rebecca, you want
Yes, Mayor.
to take roll?
Mayor Smith,
Present.
Alder Billiard. Present. Alder Hill.
Present.
Alder King.
Present.
Alder Lancaster. Present. Alder Matheson. Present. Alder Wilson. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Wes, any changes to the agenda?
Just call your attention to the spreadsheet here. This goes with number 13. The wrong one was provided in your packet.
Is this the scorecard?
Correct.
Okay.
And number 3 will be removed for today. Our engineers came back with a report Friday suggesting that the capacity options won't work for the development, so the developer won't be here to talk to you this evening. Other than that, that's all that I have written down here.
Okay, so number 3.
Did we approve ordinance 6 last time?
I felt like you did a first read last time.
Yeah, we did the first.
But I thought we did a
we
second
did a
reading
first
and a
and a
second.
I believe that might have been, there were two. One was the contract for engineering, and another was to receive the grant. So if my memory,
So yeah, we did have two. We had two for CJW, one for downtown, and then one for Hunt Road. And then there was the MoDOT one for the resolution. So yes, they are similar, but this is for the actual engineer to do the engineering on the rest. So,
Okay.
it's one for one.
very confusing, but yes.
All right, then, can we get a motion to approve the agenda as noted with the changes?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as noted with changes.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billiard.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder King.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, anything we know about the consent agenda, Wes?
No, sir.
All right, if everybody's had a chance to look at the consent agenda, can we get a motion for that? Are we still talking about that ordinance?
Yes.
Yeah.
We looked back at the minutes from the last one to make sure that we were not crazy.
Are we squared away? Are we good?
I believe we're squared away.
All right.
How was it here, Sean?
Just recapping.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billiard.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder King.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Any new invoices, Wes?
Nothing new?
Nothing, no changes, all right. All right, next item is citizen input. If anybody'd like to step forward and give us your thoughts, opinions, statements, please feel free to do so. Just state your name and your address. See none? Oh, wait, you kind of wiggled in your seat. I didn't know if you were just juking me or not.
He's baiting you.
All right, see none, I'll close that section. All right. Since we're skipping 3, we'll go to the presentation of the 2024 internal audit by Decker and Pace. Is it not Decker and DeGood anymore?
We spun off the audit portion of the practice, so there's still Decker and DeGood, and now there's Decker and Pace, just a purely audit
So
side.
you guys still in the same office?
Still the same office,
Okay.
same phone, everything's the same, so.
All right.
Blake Pace, the CPA, Decker and Pace CPA firm, I'll be going over the audit report I placed in front of you guys, the blue booklets. This will be for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2024. And as I'm going through this, if you guys have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys might have. Start on page 1.
Sure.
Page 1 is what's titled the Independent Auditor's Report, and there's basically 3 main paragraphs, or 3 main sections of this report letter. The first being the opinion paragraphs, the second being the responsibilities of management for the financial statements, and then the third paragraph, and the second page being the auditor's responsibility for the audit of the financial statements. So, kind of in plain English, what these sections say is the responsibilities of management is basically to furnish to us all relevant financial information. So that's balance sheet, income statements, any invoices, things of that nature, financial nature that we might ask for. And then our job as the auditors is to provide an opinion whether or not the financial information presented to us is free from material misstatement and whether it's in the right format per government accounting standards. And so we issue an opinion at the top of page 1 that basically says the city this year received a clean opinion, which is the highest designated opinion you can receive. And it means just that the financial information presented to us is in fact free from material misstatement, and it is in the right format per government accounting standards. And so any outside reader, banks, bonding agencies, citizens, that's what they're mainly going to be looking for, is the clean opinion. Also this year, the city fell into single audit standards, which is when you expend more than $750,000 in federal monies. And with that comes additional opinions and reports that I'll touch on here in a minute. They're in the back of the audit report. That being said, I'll just kind of cover some of the main financial highlights for the year. And I'll start that on page 15. Page 15 is what's commonly known as a profit and loss statement, although it has a different name for government accounting purposes. But this profit and loss is just specifically for your governmental funds, so it's going to be your tax-based revenue funds as opposed to your water and sewer operations. In total, the governmental funds brought in revenues of $5,216,521. They had expenditures of $4,956,207. And then down below expenditures, you'll see sale of assets, transfers in and out between funds, all in all leading to a net change in fund balance of $278,311 to the plus. Just a few takeaways from this statement specifically. Everything was fairly consistent with the prior year, besides the fact that revenues was up 1.2 million roughly, mainly just due to grants. You had a lot more grant revenue than you did this year. And correspondingly, the expenditures were also up quite a bit from last year. The capital outlay expenditures to be specific, and that's really just you spending that grant money. And so all in all, your net change is pretty consistent with the prior year. I think last year you were at $442,000 net change, and this year you're $278,000, so pretty consistent. The main thing that we look at here is how do your cash balances compare to your expenditures for the year. And so we take this 4.9 million expenditures number, that's annual expenditures, and we quantify that in terms of months, and then we look at your cash and how it compares to that expenditure. So we want anywhere from 3 to 6 months of expenses in cash. And so our benchmark for cash is anywhere from 1.2 million roughly to 2.4 million. That would be 2.4 would be 6 months of cash. The governmental funds cash balances far exceeded that $2.4 million expectation. You almost had a year's worth of cash coming in at $4,877,901. So exceptional cash balances within the governmental funds. That being said, I'll flip to page 18. Page 18 is also a profit and loss statement, although it has a little bit different formatting requirements for government accounting standards. This is specifically for your water and sewer operations. So in total, this fund brought in operating revenues of $3,202,782. Had expenses of $3,168,868. Below that, you'll see some interest income and expense, and then this intergovernmental revenue, which is basically grants. All in all, leading to a change in net position of $1,401,241. In the prior year, this net change, or this change in net position, was $27,000 to the plus. This year, it's 1.4, mainly just again due to that grant income inflating that revenue. Similar test, we look at your cash balances for the water and sewer funds, how that compares to your annual expenses. Again, we look for 3 to 6 months of cash, and so our expectation is $792,000 to $1.5 million in cash, and you had $3,476,541 in cash. So well above our expectations, really over a year's worth of cash. I'll flip to page 19. Page 19 is what's commonly known as a statement of cash flows. Similar to the profit and loss, except it takes out non-cash items, and so this just purely focuses on cash in and cash out of the water and sewer operations. There's two main takeaways from this statement. The first being the net cash provided by operating activities, that's near the top of the page, $258,131. The first thing is just we look for a positive number here that your rates are sufficient to basically cover your everyday expenditures, so your salaries, repairs and maintenance, all your overhead. And so that's kind of our first test, is just to see that this number is positive. The prior year you had $142,000 of net cash provided by operating activities, and you've increased that to $258,131 this year. Second point is about halfway down the page, there's a line that says net cash increase for the year, $252,661. And again, we just look year over year that you're increasing your cash balances, not consistently decreasing them. Last year, you had decreased your cash balance by $584,000 roughly, and this year you've increased your balance, so great progress from years past. That being said, I'll just flip to the final portion that I'm going to cover, and that's on page 53. And as I mentioned earlier, the city fell into what's called single audit standards this year. And again, that just pertains to how much federal monies that you spend. You spent over $750,000 in federal monies this year, and so there's just extra steps that come into the audit process. The federal government wants to make sure that their money is being spent according to their purpose and how they designated it, and so there's just extra steps that we have to do. Those steps mainly being we look at your internal control over your financial reporting processes, and then we look at your internal control over your grant program specifically. And so basically just we don't want to, a check leaving the city without two signers, segregation of duties, that's kind of the things we're looking for within internal control, and not just one person having control over all of the grant functions. The second thing we look for with the single audit is just compliance with the major program, and so usually out of all the grant expenditures, we pick one as a major program. This year it was the ARPA monies that were being spent, and that's the program that we're required to test. And so basically we just test the compliance of your expenditures with the ARPA monies and just making sure those monies were spent according to purpose. And so you can see down the columns here, you'll see no's across the board, and basically meaning there was no material weaknesses identified, no significant deficiencies identified, really no issues. And then the type of auditor's report issued on compliance for major programs, again, unmodified or clean opinion, meaning no issues that we saw, and again, it's the highest designated opinion you can receive. And so all in all, a very good year for the city. Again, not really any major changes from prior years. Everything looks really good. Cash balances are very strong. That being said, if you guys have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer those questions.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Wes, is this something, the summary that we can post?
Yes, sir.
You guys think of any questions at all after the fact? Our numbers on the letterhead, so feel free to give us a call. It's no additional cost, just part of the audit. We'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Blake.
All right, next is the project manager report on the sanitary sewer. Steve?
Well, with regard to the 94 lift station force main, last time we reported our third partial payment had been approved. We actually have received the cash from the EPA, so hopefully we're back on track to that working after the freeze incident. Temporary construction easements and exhibits have been created. The 5 desired easements, we obtained one from the property owner, met with 3 property owners in a detailed discussion, negotiation, and the 5th one I've not received any response from. Auger Martin is targeting July 15th for the advertisement of bids. On the Meadows connection, the city of Springfield, right now there's no significant change. Be happy to answer any questions someone may have.
If we don't get a response from that 5th landowner, is that going to be a problem?
Say that again, Casey?
If we don't get a response from that 5th landowner, is that going to be a problem on the easements?
It can be worked around. It would be much more convenient to have it.
Right. Okay. I just want to make sure that we do have a,
We could work
If we
around,
have
but
to.
it's more pain.
Just ballpark, Steve, if we have to go that route, how much longer before we see dirt getting moved?
Oh, as far as construction delay,
As far as getting started?
oh, right now, we're still targeting the 15th. I think the 3 we're in discussion with will have signed documents for that. There's legal staff looking at them. And we're fine tuning some nuances.
You talking about 94 or the airport?
Airport.
Oh, the airport. The one holdout has been challenging to say the least. Had some email communication from the attorney for the trust. I have not had any, I've had some email communication from one of the trustees who has not signed yet. I've got an inquiry out as to what's the problem, what do we need to do to bring this to conclusion. They have had a change in legal counsel that occurred Friday, so I do not know where that stands right now. We've been hoping this thing will come along where we'll stay with our design that we have. And I've talked to you in the past that we may need to go to the other side of the road. I've not inquired with that landowner yet as to how open he would be for that. Another option is to go down the middle of 106. That has a lot of cost in it, a refurbishment of the pavement. So we'll keep hammering away out of here for the next week or two and see where we stand.
Okay.
And any change on upsizing the line for discussion with Mike for future development, we'd like to make that change if we have to incorporate a reroute.
I think Tom's fully on board with the upsizing and everything
Oh,
like
there's
that.
no issue, I don't think DNR would have a problem.
No.
As presented, it would be basically a short amendment to the construction permit. But if we reroute, then we have to
All right, anything else? Rebecca, looks like we have a resolution.
A resolution of the Board of Alders consenting to the mayor's appointment of Celine Fidel to the Planning Commission. We have Celine Fidel with us today.
Mike, did you want to give a summary?
I will give a glowing summary, actually. So, we have, we've had some people step away from the planning commission. David Kingsman has moved out of the city limits and everything like that. And we're always looking for qualified individuals. By qualified, I mean willing to serve. And, when I found out that Celine was, not only, qualified and willing, but she's, actually put in her application, I was super stoked. So, this is, Celine Fidel right here. She is, wanting to serve on the planning commission and learn about city process and what we actually do here. She better buckle up because she's about to find out. But
Real fast.
it's I've known Celine ever since I've been in Willard. She's in fact my neighbor. She can't hold that against her. She didn't pick her neighbor, I picked mine. So,
I think that should be commended.
so we're super excited. We're super excited for this appointment, and we think she'll do a fantastic job.
Well, can we get a motion to appoint Celine?
I make a motion to have Celine on the,
Or you just approve the resolution?
I just approved the resolution.
I'll second.
That's fine, okay.
I have a first and a second. Alder Villier.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keen.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Celine, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Rebecca, you want to start on the ordinances?
An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Crawford Murphy and Tilling Inc. for the planning and design of a US Highway 160 pedestrian underpass. Second reading.
No changes since last discussed that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ordinance as read.
Second.
Crucial at this. Thank
He
you.
was a millisecond quicker.
I have a first and a second. Alder Villier.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keen.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster. Yes. Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you. An ordinance reestablishing the organization and operation of an economic development task force for the city of Willard, authorizing the mayor to proceed with the appointment of a 9-member advisory board with the approval of the Board of Aldermen to serve as the economic development task force. Second reading.
This is a second read, no updates on this one. With your approval, I'll begin soliciting interest in serving on the task force with Casey already appointed by voluntolding.
You say voluntolding?
Voluntolding. Wasn't that what it was?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance as read.
I'll second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Villier.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keen.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you. An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Greene County, Missouri, authorizing the appointment of 1 director and 1 alternate to the Southwest Missouri Joint Municipal Water Utility Commission.
This is a second read. Again, this does not commit us to anything other than being on the board. We will run the numbers as far as what it looks like on the budgetary standpoint, and Holly's given some suggestions on the contract language. So we'll revisit the actual diving in with both feet at a future date. This is just for us to have a voice on the board of the Southwest Missouri group.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as read. Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billiard.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder King.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you. 9, an ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, accepting the bid of Commerce Bank for the deposit of city public funds and authorizing the mayor to execute related agreements.
Again, second read, no updates. This is selecting or retaining, I guess, our affiliation with Commerce Bank for our banking services. No other changes to report.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as read. Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billiard.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder King.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you. 10, an ordinance approving a replat of lots 1 through 40 of Hoffman Hills Phase 1, a residential plan development district in the city of Willard, Greene County, Missouri.
No changes.
Make a motion that we approve the ordinance as read.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Billiard.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder King.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you. 11, an ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, adopting an amendment to the 2025 budget. First reading.
The general revenues for this amendment will increase $3,000 more than the original budget. Expenditures will increase $6,500 or $65,000 from the original budget. And I'll go through it. If you want to go to the general before we go farther. There were no major changes to the general, with the exception of capital improvements and vehicle equipment for the patrol cars. It will be less than we originally anticipated, by $9,400. And the Jackson Street, I split it. Part of that was for the Jackson Street overlay, delayed invoice, and then part of it was for sidewalks, which was $15,000. So that was the difference in that. A roller that was purchased ended up costing less than anticipated, so we lowered for that. And that was all the changes for the general. Are there any questions about general?
These are the ones we went over last
Mm-hmm.
time.
If not, we'll go to water and sewer. Water and sewer,
Are there any changes?
for water and sewer?
Cover this.
Are there any changes to what we went over last time?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I was talking about just now, the
Okay.
changes that we had. Which was, hold on just a second, let me get back to general.
I think he was asking if there were any changes from your last presentation.
Yeah, just cover the tweaks.
There was changes to the amended budget that were presented last time, yes.
Okay.
The changes for the general fund, there was a lower amount for equipment for the police cars. It actually wasn't a lower amount, but it is a lower amount. It goes into the lease payment, part of it we have to pay up front. But it's less than we originally thought we'd have to pay up front.
So is the total the same? No.
Right. So there was an increase for streets for the dump truck. We haven't received it yet, but the actual aftermarket equipment that we have to put on it, an increase for streets in $3,000. 800. So there was an increase. The total increase
It's an air purchase list.
for the general fund was 297,000 total for the cash balance. The total expense increase was 65,775. Does anybody have any questions?
The water one?
Okay. I will move to the water and sewer. The water and sewer, because of the damage to the roof on the well house out at the Meadows, it was less than what the insurance covered because there's a $10,000 deductible. That increased the water and sewer expenses. Hold on just a second here.
Is the 10,000 deductible just for that structure, or is that all city structures?
I'm sorry, could
The
you?
$10,000 deductible, is it solely for that structure, or does that go for all city structures?
For all city structures.
Hmm.
We put a higher deductible in order to get our insurance lower, is why. Because the cost of getting a lower deductible was a lot more than a $10,000 chance
Yeah.
of a damage on that. Okay, just a second here. Let me get-
Trevor, you clearing the rest of those trees out?
Around that, well,
Around the pump house?
wasn't really planning on it. I'd like to.
Okay, for the water and sewer, the revenues are going to be, when we figure it, $450,000 more than the original budgeted receipts. And the expenditures are $212,330 more than the original budgeted receipts. If you go down through it, the main changes is in capital outlay. There is an increase, it's more than we anticipated, $5,000 on the skidster that we talked about on the last meeting to purchase that.
This
And
is
it's
not something that we've already purchased though, right?
Pardon?
We have not already purchased this.
No,
Okay.
no, it still has, would have to be approved.
And what's the reasoning behind it?
The previous skidster they had, the repair on it was more than we felt like was worth putting into it because it was an older one. I don't know if you want to
Yeah,
expand on that.
so the case skid steer we've got, the drive motors went out, and it was gonna be $12,000 to fix it. So it's a 2003 model, and $12,000 is basically what it's worth, if it's in perfect shape. So it wasn't really worth fixing, so we kind of just, figured, hey, let's just look at selling that one off, getting a new one, starting fresh with it.
Before that's proposed to the board, can we have how many hours are logged for that skid steer for this current year?
Yeah.
To see how much usage is actually,
It's somewhere around 2,400 hours, give or take.
Each
But-
year?
No, total, that's total.
What's the annual usage?
Be hard to say. We've got 2 skid steers right now, but neither one of them have high flow too. So that's the other problem that we run into. We need high flow to run the equipment to fix the streets and mow and stuff like that with them. So it's kind of like a 2-part deal,
so we bought a newer one, but we didn't buy what we needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
individual that did that has already been.
Yeah. But it was presented to the board to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I would like to know how many hours it's used each year. What would it cost to rent for that many hours?
Oh, you
Just-
wouldn't be able to afford a rental, it would be a lot.
I'd still like to know how much.
Yeah.
Any other questions about the skid steer? Not, I'll go on. The Meadows Water Tower interior, we had it in the budget, it was at $150,000. After Trevor talked to the people to fix this the way it needs to be fixed, it's gonna cost more than we thought it would, inflation. So it could run between 175,000 to 200, and they wouldn't know until they actually get in there. So, are there any questions about that?
And we'd still have to put that one out to bid.
Pardon?
The water tower, I'm just letting them know, we'd still have to put it out to bid, so
Yeah.
just because you're increasing authorization doesn't mean we're just gonna go for it.
There was a roller purchased earlier in the year. It was less than we planned on. Again, it's split between streets, water, sewer. So we decreased the budget by that amount for that. Same thing with sewer, the skidster, an additional $2,500. The roller, which has got $3,000, and the dump truck, aftermarket, we haven't received it yet. It's been on order, but it's not received. There's an aftermarket cost to put the equipment on. We have to pay half of that. Other than that, total expenses overall increased $212,000 compared to the original budget. The cash balance increased $1,722,000. Again, part of that's because of our beginning balances, so our ending balances is higher as well, because there was some work that was planned for last year that didn't happen. Are there any questions about the water and sewer?
The dump truck, was that approved before?
It's on the lease.
I'm sorry?
It was on the lease,
Oh,
purchase, it's a lease purchase. Okay, we'll go to parks. The parks fund revenue, the revenues increased 35,000. The total expenditures decreased 6,000. There was no changes in parks from when we presented it last time. Ending cash balance would be 63,930. Are there any questions about parks? Go to the summary page. Again, the ending balances for general is $3,993,000. For water and sewer, $3,265,000, and parks, $63,900. Does anyone have any questions?
Instead of making this a first and a second, since there are questions about the skid steer numbers, do you want to just make it a first and then we can revisit when the skid steer numbers come in? On the second read?
I would assume since it's a first and a second, it needed to be approved tonight.
No, we can back,
Yes.
no, we can,
I mean, the skid steer is basically before it's purchased. we'll have to vote on that before it's purchased.
Yeah, you would.
And I would just like to know how many hours it's
Sure.
used.
So is everybody good with the first and second tonight, or do they, or not?
This is just amending the budget.
Yeah.
This isn't saying, I mean,
Yeah, we still had to follow.
we
purchasing
still have to
bid.
follow a procedure for purchases.
All right. Then,
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as read.
Or do we need to read the word, or we need to vote and then read? Yeah.
She read it.
no, she read it. So we just,
Do I need to read it twice?
You can vote on the first and then read it the second time and then vote on the second.
All right, so I have Alder Hill for a first.
I'll second.
I'm sorry.
I didn't even hear it, but I'll second.
Okay. I have a first and a second on the first read. Alder Villiers.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Second read. An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri adopting an amendment to the 2025 budget. Second read.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as read.
A second. I second. Alder Villiers.
Yes.
Alder Hill.
Yes.
Alder Keane.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you. An ordinance repealing section 127.220 of the municipal code of the city of Willard, Missouri, and amending section 127.210 regarding exclusions to membership on Parks and Recreational Advisory Board. This is first read.
We'd talked about this at the last meetings. This is just formalizing that discussion. There was a sentence in the code that prohibited a member of the alders from sitting on the Parks Board, so this repeals that to allow you to make that point.
Does this allow us to go ahead and appoint Rachel?
Sure. Upon approval.
Voluntolding her?
Voluntolding, absolutely. This allows you to make it official.
Glad I'm not the newest anymore.
It smooths it away basically if you do that, absolutely.
next time.
An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, accepting the bid for cell phone service for municipal operations and authorizing the mayor to execute related agreements. First and second.
And as a reminder, the score sheet was provided in front of you, which I scribbled on the back, but this one.
Let me speak on it.
Yes,
Okay. We received 3 different bids, FirstNet, Verizon, and T-Mobile. We split it up by equipment and services. As equipment, T-Mobile was actually the least expensive, Verizon the most expensive, was in the middle. Service-wise, FirstNet was the least expensive, Verizon was the highest, and then T-Mobile was in the middle. Overall, the total cost, we recommend the FirstNet. It is overall for the year cost at $5,046 versus the other 2 bids, which Verizon was a little over $7,000, and then T-Mobile was $5,589. So all providers are providers of first responders for priority network access during an emergency. The FirstNet is to piggyback off the state bid. And basically it's the same services for each one. We recommend FirstNet as the provider. Any questions?
Is FirstNet currently being used with any other?
Yeah, it's actually AT&T, FirstNet is.
Okay.
It's used by a lot of, I think, Springfield.
That's what I was asking, was the
Yeah.
reliability, so it's AT&T, they have good
Yeah,
reliability.
it's AT&T. FirstNet is.
Previous previous municipality I used, they were really good also, so.
How many cell phones? So we provide 7 cell phones? Is this just for our officers or is this for all of our staff? What all are we looking at providing here?
7 phones,
I don't have that, I see
I
the numbers.
apologize.
That's great.
Some of the directors have phones. There's a phone for the police, I'm trying to remember. I think 3 phones for the police, 1 for the chief, 2 for patrol officers. Mike has a phone, Parks has a phone, trying to remember. Water and sewer, they have an emergency line phone. Is that 7?
That's
6.
Pardon?
That's 6.
6? Who am I missing? Missing
Did
somebody.
you include Wes?
No, I forgot mine.
Let's see, the chief.
BYOP.
So is it chief and 3 cops?
So it's like read this.
Or is
Yeah,
it
we've got 3 police phones.
3 police
plus the
plus
chief.
chief? Okay.
And then the tablet ones for public works and the ones for parks. And then the 4 hotspots for the police cars, for the computers in the cars.
So we've only got 4 of those?
Yes.
What about our other cars?
Currently, that's what they have, computers in there. We may need to get some, at a later date. Thank you. Public Works has, after hours phone. Parks actually has 2 phones. Police has 3 phones. And Mike has 1 phone. 3 hotspots. This is our old system. Let's change it. The cars, the 4 is for the cars. We did have some hotspots under Verizon, but we were changing them so the cell phones has the hotspots on them, which is a little bit cheaper. Some directors choose to just use their own phones because they really don't want to carry 2 phones. The new system, the FirstNet's cheaper than what we're currently paying, so.
Who are we currently with? Cheaper than we're paying, are we with FirstNet, or who are we
We're
currently?
with Verizon currently. Are there any questions? Other questions?
Nope. You want to do a second?
Savings of $2,400.
We do the first read, then we'll do a second. Or you already read the first week, so the motion for it.
No, previously, just to be sure. An ordinance of the Board of Alders of the City of Willard, Missouri, accepting the bid for cell phone service for municipal operations and authorizing the mayor to execute related agreements. Second reading.
Do we need to make the motion that we go with?
Or is, we're leaving that up to you.
It's in the ordinance, it's written in the ordinance that it be FirstNet.
I did have one quick question.
Go ahead.
Sorry, what are we currently paying with Verizon? I know this is their bid, but is this bid higher than the current, or what are we currently paying at for the similar service?
We're currently paying $800, a little over $800 a month.
What's the year totaling? I see it's $7,456 for Verizon's total bid, do you have that number to compare? Whereas FirstNet is 5,046 for their bid per year. Right, am I reading that correct?
Correct. That's that includes equipment. The actual service charge is $4,400 for,
Will we end up paying any contract breaking fees for phones, et cetera?
no, the Verizon it's an annual contract,
Even for the equipment?
and we haven't signed it yet.
It's an iPhone 1, it's well out of,
Well,
They're-
I mean,
well out of date.
Yeah. We haven't re-signed the contract. It's a,
One step above rotary.
So it'd be like 9,600 or 9,600 a year is what we're currently paying.
Yeah.
Mine's at the bottom.
yeah, so do I.
Jeremy, did you get your question answered?
I think so. Yeah. It's higher than the actual bid.
Quite a bit.
Current is higher than their current bid,
Yeah, their current bid is.
which is
lower
still
than-
higher than FirstNet, obviously, so we're good.
It's like $9,600.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
I'll make a motion to approve as read.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Alder Villiers.
Yes.
Alder Pillar.
Yes.
Alder King.
Yes.
Alder Lancaster.
Yes.
Alder Matheson.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, item number, well, 13 now, financial scorecard, Wes?
So in front of you, color's a little off, I ran out of ink, I apologize. You have your usual financial scorecard, updated through May financials there. Areas of note compared to previous months. Parks Fund is kind of a cautionary status on their indicators. However, their spending compared to prior years is much lower. So we're just going to watch that, see what's going on there. They have been making some cuts. We've seen them go from about 50% of spending their budget at this time of the year down to 43%. I usually kind of just divide 12 by whatever month we're on, and that would be about 41%. So they're kind of close to where they should be. But of course, we're still working on some other stuff to bring that spending down. And then the new thing, which I didn't quite have time to get all the information, I had to pull it in from all over the place, but this is what our financial reporting will look like. Kind of collapsing the things down from Tyler into manageable buckets, so the average person can pick this up and get a snapshot of where we are. Starting to get May in there, and then the water, sewer fund, and parks fund. To give people an understanding of where the money's going, what are we doing, and how we're in balance. So hope to have that up by the end of the week, along with this one. And then as we discussed, we'll likely move to some parks scorecarding to support some of the efforts we're working on there as well. So those are our new ones there. And that's all I have for the scorecard, unless you have questions or suggestions or anything you'd like me to add on there.
I have a question on aging, because I think it's outrageous that my employer's a 45-day pay.
Well, so this one, as I learned today, there's not actually a reliable way to get that number. So what I would encourage you to focus on, I may just want to kind of remove this average age. At first it was like 65, then it was 96. Then we've kind of looked at percentages. Our system just doesn't have a great way to accurately look at it. So if you'll look, the area we do have is the age range. I've got kind of collapsed in there how much is owed in each bucket. There is a downward decline on the 60 to 89. The 90 pluses includes a lot of things that we may never collect. And the 30 to 59 is typically the folks who are doing payment arrangements. So it's not ideal. We don't have ways to necessarily collect beyond sending it to collections, and if they don't pay, and they
Is
don't
this
care about the credit.
receivables or payables?
This is like the water accounts. So receivables.
Okay, it says accounts payable, that's why I'm joking.
Good question. I would
Because I think we should do better. Like
I would
say.
change the wording of that.
Corporate America does 45 days that I think is
Good.
outrageous.
Good comment. I will change that one. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, no wonder you're upset. Yeah,
We need to pay our bills better than that.
Yeah, we do, we pay much better than we receive. Yes, it's our water accounts mainly.
Okay. Yeah, receivables.
That's an easy fix, I can fix that tonight.
Okay.
Anything else on that? If not, move to new business? Any new business? Any unfinished business?
I just have a few things I just want to add on other remarks, apologies. We did our first manager's minute, I wanted to kind of call attention to that. It's become one of our most watched videos that we've done for the city, which we're kind of proud of. It's a bit of an awkward moment, but I decided one day to park down the street and just go for it, and we had about 360 people look at the thing, so.
Ooh, that's good.
We talked about our D-lift station. JR, Trevor and his team went out there, spotted some issues that they could fix. We haven't got an exact number on it, but they're saying about 99% of the I-9 at that location has been resolved just by a self-led project. So we kind of decided to get that out there and let people kind of have a look around. So we put it together. It's about 60 seconds long, very, very quick and easy. So Rebecca and I are actually going to try and work on some of the other things we could put on there. My wife, who's my hardest critic, just said I needed to smile more, but she quite enjoyed it too. So I got so focused on what I was going to say, I didn't even think to look at anything else. So we're excited by that, and hopefully that'll give some people who don't have much time a little bit more opportunity to engage with city business. And that's the only other thing I want to point out.
Anybody else have anything for unfinished business? If not, Casey?
Make a motion that we recess the open session and open the closed session pursuant to RSMO section 610.021, subsection 1 legal and subsection 2 real estate.
I have a first and a second. Alder Villiers?
Yes.
Alder Hill?
Yes.
Alder King?
Yes.
Alder Lancaster?
Yes.
Alder Matheson?
Yes.
Recording is back on.
Make a motion that we close the meeting.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any ayes? We're adjourned.